1650 PWAM, 1650 PWAM, pro wrestling and more. And I got the one. This is Joe White, by the way. I don't even have a nickname. Everybody's got nicknames around here but me. I guess I'm just Whitey. But I got the one, the only, Mr. Hollywood, Jeff Edwards. What's up, Jeff?
What's up, White? White, you don't need a nickname. You're White.
The grizzled veteran.
The grizzled veteran. GV White.
GV White. There you go. I had somebody one time on Twitter or on Facebook call me Sergeant Joe Friday. I don't know where they got that from, but it was over. But anyway, we're here tonight.
We'll let it happen organically.
Well, yeah.
It'll happen eventually.
What we're here for? Let me see if I can.
Why are we here, White?
We're here to talk a little CWF Mid-Atlantic Week.
Ooh.
Yeah, CWF Mid-Atlantic. They post their shows on YouTube every single Wednesday at 9 o'clock, right after NXT airs. How convenient. You know, the Wednesday Night Wars, you got Ring of Honor, you got TNA, you got NXT, and now you have CWF Mid-Atlantic to look forward to. Who's watching that goddamn owl anyways, when you can watch CWF?
Who's watching NXT when you can watch CWF? White, I have a lot of things to say tonight. I'm ready.
Did you write some stuff down like I did?
Some.
A couple things here to keep in mind about this episode. We are talking about episode number 103, headlined by White Mike Jordan versus Chuck Taylor. And they don't give their episodes names. So I thought I would give this episode a name for them. This episode is CWF Mid-Atlantic Worldwide episode 103, and it is titled, I Don't Care About the Hoe, I Just Want My Robe Back. I think that's appropriate for this. That quote has been my pinned tweet ever since Thursday night.
There are so many one-liners that he used that you could name the show.
Oh, man.
My God. We'll get there.
We'll get there. This episode, for lack of, or let me preface this by, this is not your normal episode of CWF Mid-Atlantic. This is not how the traditional episodes go. Normally they're a lot more streamlined than this, and the crowds are bigger because you might be sitting there going, "Where's the fucking crowd?" There's no crowd there. This was filmed on the same day that the Trevor Lee versus Chip Day match was filmed. It was night 2 of the Cornado Brothers Tag Team Tournament. And as a thank you to the fans, if you bought a ticket to night 1 or night 2, night 1 was held that Friday, night 2 Saturday. Well, what they did for you is Saturday you got to come in for free if you bought a ticket to one of those two events, and they had a fan fest. They had a WrestleFest video game cabinet set up. All the wrestlers that participated in night 1 and night 2 were there to give autographs, and merch tables were set up. They were there for the fans, basically. They gave, they had matches. They wanted to do a video game tournament, but I don't think they got around to that. One thing that was there was they did a match game type segment with some CWF guys. And as we talked about with Grant Sawyer, this was just a way to have fun. This is pretty much like a wrestling training session, if you will, or if you had your birthday party at the Sportatorium, this is probably the closest thing to birthday party footage that will ever air on CWF's YouTube channel. The audience was really secondary as this, and as we'll point out here, this was all the guys coming together and having fun. A lot of the wrestlers' families were there. Kane's mom was, of course, there. People like Papa.
I think I heard her.
Thank you, heard her. You saw her, too, a bunch. How could you not hear her? Mm-hmm. Anyway, Papa Hale's there, of course. Papa Hale's we'll get to here in a minute. John Philip Habbage was there. Dylan Hales also there. I was there. I showed up probably around maybe 5 minutes into the first match. And I did not stay for all of the Fan Fest because we wanted to go grab a bite to eat or whatever before the main show started that evening. But so I think that kind of prefaces that if this is your first forte after the Chip Day match, I mean it's kind of crazy that they aired this the week after Chip Day and Trevor Lee, and I know why they did it. it's to cool people off. It's kind of like a buffer episode. WWE's famous for doing this. NXT's famous for doing this. Ring of Honor, hell, when Ring of Honor has a pay-per-view, you get 2 or 3 weeks full of buffer and best of episodes before you get back to storylines. So how do you want to do this, Jeff? Do you want to run through it, like just run through the whole show, opening to close, and analyze it?
Yeah, sure. We could just do it that way. But people should know this is my first episode that I watched. Episode proper besides Trevor and Chip's match.
And it kind of.
But I want to say though, I knew it was the Fan Fest because they said as much. But this show was just flat out fun. It was just fun to watch it, and I hope that the characters and stuff as I move forward watching this show are still there like they are on this show.
Oh yeah, a couple things there. White Mike, John. Well, we'll get there. White Mike. I guess I should preface that Chuck Taylor, we found out, is actually Stokely Hathaway. we were just researching this. The premise for this is they brung all these different tag teams in for this Kronodle Cup. I want to say it was like 10 or 12 teams that they had over the course of 2 days. Mm-hmm. This was the weekend before WrestleMania. So if you're Grant, if you're Brad, anybody who was working for that promotion, keep in mind they had this to do. They had a Nova Pro show to do, I think that Sunday, and then they were planning a trip down to Mania. This weekend burnt the production crew out. So kudos to them for it being as good as it was. The show opens with, I gotta say, she's growing on me the more and more I see her. Speaking of, we were talking before the show about beautiful women. This girl, CL Party, opening up, wearing a Casey Carlisle t-shirt, which I pointed out on Twitter, and, Casey Carlisle is CL Party's hero. I'm hoping, we are going to get to see CL Party in the Sportatorium, but it's not for CWF Mid-Atlantic, it's for Modern Vintage Wrestling that's coming up soon.
Okay.
But anyway, she welcomes us to the show, and then we get our look at Darius Lockhart. Now, if you don't know who Darius Lockhart is, you will know after this match. He was trained by George South, and he has like a revolutionary gimmick. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he has Black Lives Matter on his tights. I first saw him for, I want to say, Pure Pro Wrestling, which is another promotion in North Carolina, closer to where I'm at. And every time this guy's in the ring, he's so good. He is so good. And he was facing Kane Justice, former referee. And he even says it at the beginning of this match, I'm not a referee no more, Darius, and he's your Rising Generation League champion. I want to ask you, because we've talked about titles in other places, Japan, whatever like this. Mm-hmm. Did you get a sense of what the Rising Generation League title was when you watched this as a first-time viewer?
Yeah, my sense was that it was just strictly for newcomers.
Yeah, 3 years and under.
Okay.
You can only, and so, in fact, they held a storyline a couple months back about somebody getting the title as they were approaching their 3rd year, and I think they got it. Kane, I believe, beat Jesse Adler for this title. Jesse Adler was, I think, forced to retire due to injury. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I know Statmark, a.k.a. Grant Sawyer's probably listening. I just caught on Twitter today that Adler retired, which is a waste because Jesse Adler was awesome. So it's Kane Justice versus Darius Kane Justice versus Darius Lockhart for the Rising Generation League title. I came in about maybe right after the match started. You can actually see me filing into my seat. I'm standing in the entryway to the arena. But I'll let you start off as the first time viewer here, Jeff. What did you think of this match?
I thought the match was very, very good. I only know Kane Justice's name from talking with you. I never saw him before. Never saw Darius before. As soon as the match started, you could tell Darius was like solid, just fundamentally sound kind of guy, which is awesome to see in an indie fed. And you said before we came on, interestingly enough, you just had Chip Day on here on 1650 PWAM on From Pillar to Post. Good interview, by the way.
Thank you.
You see him, you see Kane. They have similar size, similar body type, similar style, similar ring gear. No brainer. They got to get in the ring together.
I have a
But
theory.
I thought this match was really good, especially for an opening match, for the show.
It's funny you mentioned that, and I mentioned beforehand that I think last night I was lying in bed, and it was like 11:30 at night. This is the shit I do in bed, ladies and gentlemen. I have my beautiful girlfriend sitting next to me. Instead of getting my love on, she's sleeping, and I'm sitting there going, I just interviewed Chip Day. Him and Kane would be goddamn good at Battlecade, which is like their version of WrestleMania in December. So I pop on Twitter, and Brad Stutz, who goes by Stutzy on Twitter, I type in, "Dear Stutzy Claus, I want for Christmas this year, I would love to see Chip Day versus Kane Justice in a CWF ring." And then all of a sudden they start cutting promos on each other. Kane and Chip do on Twitter, start cutting promos, and it sounded like to me it was an official challenge by Chip Day. Maybe this will, Chip Day broke on our show last night. I'm not sure Stutzy wanted this let out, but he even mentioned it on Twitter. Chip Day is going to be back in the CWF Mid-Atlantic Sportatorium on the 20th. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we'll get that match then. If we do, it'll shock me. I want it to happen at Battlecade. I want it to be a build. I want it to be a slow burning build. And I think because, see, the Rising Generation League title, kind of perplexes me because it's like, do you have to graduate from the CWF dojo in order to get that title? Or or is it for those who have not been a official member of the CWF Mid-Atlantic roster for 3 years?
Yes, good question.
So if you have Kane burn up, then to me that proposed match is like Brett and Sean. But go ahead and finish your thoughts here on this match if you had any. I didn't know if you were done or not. I'm sorry.
Well, I did have well, first of all, speaking of the titles, this isn't really in reference to the match, but they have Trevor's the heavyweight.
Yeah.
That's the next generation, they're calling it?
No.
Next gen title?
Well, are you talking about Trevor Lee or Kane Justice?
No, I'm saying Trevor's the heavyweight. Kane is the next gen title.
Rising Generation League, yeah.
Rising Generation. I'll have to get that in my head. What other titles do we have here in the company?
In the company, you have I'll start at of course you have tag team titles. Mm-hmm. There is no women's championship, which perplexes me about CWF. And for those listening, this is not going to be a love fest for CWF entirely as much as it has been this week. I am going to start criticizing the promotion a little bit, and I hope it ruffles feathers. I hope it gets them to change things, not just solely based on what I want, but things I see that they could do better. A women's title is one of those things. They don't do a whole lot of women's matches. Sis is the only regular female that they have on here. You got a taste of what she could do in our main event, but no women's title. So you got the tag titles, and then you have the Rising Generation League title, which is the 3-year and under. Okay. And then you have the television title, which...
And that was Mecca?
No, Mecca is one half of the tag team champions along with Aaron Biggs, and they form a team called the Sandwich Squad. And then you have the TV title was defended on this. It is who Mecca faced, who is Eric Andrews.
Okay, got it.
Eric Andrews is the worldwide television champion, which even though they're on just YouTube, so smart to have a fucking TV title. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad they're calling it the TV title and not the CWF YouTube Championship, because I believe CWF Mid-Atlantic used to have a television deal with one of the local television stations, but they don't anymore. But it's good that they keep that television title around, and they got a really good storyline floating around it. And then above that, you have the CWF Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, which is who Trevor Lee is. Now, above those guys, you have your PWI, your Pro Wrestling International, which is what CWF is a part of. It's kind of like the NWA.
Okay, gotcha.
So you have the Pro Wrestling International title, which is currently held by C.W. Anderson, and him, and as far as so far as CWF Mid-Atlantic goes, him and Rick Converse have been feuding for this. They fought at the match with Battlecade. The match really kind of fell flat. They rematched them at 80s Night, which you'll be seeing in May, and that was actually better. So those are your titles that you have. The PWI International Championship does not get defended on every show. Of course, as you saw here, neither does the world title. So it's, To me, it's as far as when titles get defended. I think they try to at least have one title match on every episode, but not always, which is good. But did I answer your question there before I started rambling?
Yipper.
Okay, go ahead.
Sounds good. Sounds good. The match. Going back to the match though. Is Darius a heel?
Usually, yes, and so is Kane.
Okay, because that's the impression I got, and I just wanted to be sure I was reading it, the way I should.
So yeah,
good match though. Good match.
The Darius is a heel. I found it funny when Kane Justice came out. It's Fan Fest. So Kane Justice was kind of baby facing in this match, even though he did play a heel as well. In fact, he even told Darius, he goes, "I'm sorry, Darius, you got to forgive me. I'm a little bit over here." And he, hit his pose on the ropes as he came out.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And that's the thing too, Joe, watching this for the first time. I don't, when you watch something, especially on YouTube, and it kind of goes back to what Grant was saying about indie promotions, like, he was talking at the time in your interview about the hard cam. Mm-hmm. Indie promotions abusing the hard cam and stuff. Indie promotions, a lot of times on YouTube, too, abuse bad wrestling. So when somebody tells me to check something out and I see slop, it's like, come on. Why am I wasting my time with this?
Right.
First match I see from CWF here on a show, good solid wrestling. So I thought, all right, so far so good. We're off to a good start.
Yeah, they definitely gave you like a really good. I don't want to say it wasn't a strong style match. It was nowhere near like Chip versus Lee, but it was a wrestling match. It told a kind of a little bit of a story here. Really, not too much build to it. Again, it's Fan Fest. It was matches thrown together for Fan Fest. In the grand scheme of things, do these matches kind of matter? Yes, they do, because on commentary, Brad and Cecil, which I like the commentary for this show a lot better than I did last week. Not as much screaming by Brad, but that's a personal preference of mine.
I actually have that written down, going back to Grant's comment in your interview. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he actually said if you just drop in and see a match like that and hear Brad going crazy, that's one thing. But if you watch the show, and there was none of that craziness tonight, So all good.
A couple things about this that they did not point out. There was one spot in the match where he's got I believe he's got Darius down in a body scissor. And, of course, all the other wrestlers in CWF Mid-Atlantic are standing around the ring. Some of them are playing the WrestleFest video game while the match is going on. Mm-hmm. The Ugly Ducklings are over on one side trying to sell their merch. But the crowd is really watching the match. And it's funny. You got, I'll call her, we got Papa Hales in the arena. I guess I could call her Mama Kane. Mama Justice, if you will. Okay. Mama Justice is cheering and work that arm, Kane, all her usual jibber jabber there. Doesn't want to believe her son is a heel. Anyway, we've discussed that ad nauseum. But there's a point in the match where Nick Richards, the Lost Cause Nick Richards, in his brilliant Double Dare t-shirt, and I'm sitting right there standing right there when it happens, yells out, "It's funny, Kane, the only people cheering for you are your family." And then Kane, without missing a beat, right in the middle while he's got this damn hold on Darius, looks up, Darius has a hold on him. Right in the middle of when he's trying to, be in a submission move, shouts out, "At least I got some damn family, Richards." And everybody, from the wrestlers to the damn crowd, it was a sick burn. So that's the kind of atmosphere it was live, Of course, like I said, Lockhart, trained by George South. I think they make a mention of that. The match ends with the twist ending from Justice to Lockhart, taps Lockhart out, retains the title. Anything else before we move on about this match?
No. But like you said, it's a wrestling match, and I'll mention this later, how there was a little bit, I think, for everybody on this show, which is a good thing. And I want to bring that up again later. But yes, wrestling match to kick off. Good start.
One more thing about this match here. Okay. You notice Kane Justice did not come out to "You're the Best Around" this time. The music you heard is his regular theme music, and it just fits him. It fits him so good. I love that music. Every time he comes out, I'm like, "That's Kane." So I love that music. I'm surprised they don't get copyrighted hit it on Twitter, and Grant really didn't seem to care that they did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so there you go. That match, solid match. I believe it ended in just outside of 12 minutes, or just inside of 12 minutes. It ended like 12 minutes 40 some seconds, I believe. I don't sit here with a stopwatch or write down match times like Meltzer does, but good match. Moving on, we get the old bad news himself, Mr. Cheers, hashtag Cheers assholes. We get a Q&A. It's Fan Fest. You got to have a Q&A at the Fan Fest, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens we got our Fan Fest with a man who is one of the top heels in the company, even though you don't see him as much anymore. And that's Mr. Brad Attitude. Brad Attitude turned heel last year, turning heel on Trevor Lee. A little bit of backstory about Brad Attitude. Brad Attitude is a former WWE developmental guy. He wrestled down in Florida champion FCW and for a while down there, and then got released and came back to CWF Mid-Atlantic. So whenever he mentions like Dolph Ziggler, him and Dolph Ziggler are good friends. I believe Dolph Ziggler was the best man at Brad Attitude's wedding. So when he mentions Dolph Ziggler and every bit like that, any thoughts here on the Q&A?
Yeah, the guy's obviously a natural, which is phenomenal. Good size. He came across to me as like maybe like not so much like a Mr. Anderson or a Mr. Kennedy, but the Cheers assholes t-shirts and just his demeanor, it seems like he's kind of like an ass kicker type of, sarcastic asshole.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That's pretty much him. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
I mean, he's the one. He held that CWF Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title for the better part of, I want to say, 2016, or 2015 into 2016. He doesn't appear as much for the company anymore. Had a really good 6-month-long feud with Trevor Lee that culminated in a match at Battlecade. You could go back and watch that on their YouTube channel. It was a very good match. So Brad Attitude, we have a Q&A with him, and Papa Hales is like, I like Papa Hales' question. He goes, just got back from Vegas. I went to the I went to the Las Vegas fight shop. Because I get in there. He comes off as, you know who Papa Hales comes off as in this promo? He comes off as Billy Mitchell, the Donkey Kong guy. It's a total Billy Mitchell promo. He goes, I went down to the fight shop, and everybody started crowding around me like I was a superstar. And I mentioned I'd seen them, and everybody asks, who the hell is Brad Attitude? And the crowd pops for that.
I don't remember his response, but it was classic.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was really good. One of the questions, I'm sitting there right next to the arcade cabinet where all the wrestlers, like Nick Richards is literally standing right in front of me while this is going on, and, White Mike and everybody like that. And I hear, ask about the rats. What about the rats? And I even stood up or put my hand up, and I was like, guys, if y'all want me to ask, I'll ask the damn question. But it was White Mike Jordan in the end. He wanted to know about the rats and catering at the E. And Brad Stutz was like, one story isn't going to hurt. And so we didn't get a rat story. He said those can't be told in a PG audience, so that was another thing. And somebody told him he looked like a poor-ass Bill Paxton. And what's funny is Bill Paxton had just died about maybe 2 or 3 days before.
Okay.
So we got that, and it was a good segment to establish to the viewers. Again, even though this is a fan fest, it's not totally a throwaway episode. This is to remind the fans he's still lurking in the background. He may have lost to Trevor Lee. He's kind of aligned himself with Coach Gemini and the All-Stars, but he's not, he mentions that Coach Gemini cheered his ass. Coach Gemini, I will tell you, the guy in the Cincinnati Reds jersey, I think it was Cincinnati Reds, he's famous for coming out and blowing a whistle during his matches. It's by God annoying, but man, it gets him over as a heel.
So he's like a Bill Alfonso type.
Yeah, very much like a coach. Like he's literally a coach. He comes out there but different. Like I think the last time he wore a Houston Astros throwback jersey, like the '80s style Houston Astros jersey for '80s night. If he sees something illegal, he'll throw the flag, like he threw the flag for the rat question. He's really good. He's damn good. I mean, and I think he even wrestled for a little while. I'm not really too much into the background of Coach Gemini, but I know as Coach Gemini, he's got the world's greatest ring announcer, Jerry Carey, with him. So the baseball thing is really there full on with Coach Gemini. Anything else about the Q&A before we move on?
Just starting to recognize characters at this point.
Yeah.
And when we talk, I'm one guy that'll, wave the flag for New Japan in wrestling, but I'm also a flag waver for characters. So, and there's good. Next segment, I think we have a character, but I'll save it. Go ahead.
So the next segment is Eric Andrews versus.
Oh no, I think you missed something in between there.
Oh yeah, I missed the promo. I don't even remember the guy's name. That's how memorable this was to me.
The filmmaker.
Oh man, let me see if I
can
get
filmmaker Mike. I think he spells it M-Y-K.
Yeah, and I don't know who the little manager is there with him.
I loved this.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like his manager. I don't like the look of the guy. The gimmick just doesn't suit him. You could tell he was very much, half the promo was like deer in the headlights. What do I do now? Granted, the guy's green. I know what everybody's going to say. Well, why don't you step, you stupid Mark. Why don't you step up there and cut a promo?
Take a bump, White. Take a bump.
Take a bump, White. But I mean, to me, this was not my favorite part of the show. Am I curious to see where they go with him as far as Battle Bowl goes? Because the following week was Battle Bowl, and I was not there for Battle Bowl, which I love Battle Bowl. I wish I was there for it, but curious to see where they go with this guy. You're from Hollywood, so of course, Hollywood Jeff Edwards is going to love this guy.
That's true.
Give your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
All right, listen. This is what kills me about the major companies, like, even Ring of Honor's at fault for this somewhat with certain guys. Mm-hmm. But WWE, some of those guys have zero character. They have gimmicks, but they don't have character, okay? This guy has he spoke for what, 30 seconds? He was a little, if that, yeah, a little unsure of himself. But the character is all there. He called himself Mr. 30K. He said, I'm the star of stars. And he said something like, if I don't like you, I don't cast you.
Yeah.
And then he closed the promo with, are you ready for your cameo? And he put the glasses on. White, I must have watched it 10 times because there's so much there character-wise that has potential with the guy. Forget it. If that guy becomes comfortable doing that stuff, forget it. Star written all over him. Star.
I think it's a good gimmick, and you'll see with CWF, they got guys there like Michael McAllister, like Sis, Donnie Dollars, Smith Garrett even to a certain extent, which you haven't seen Smith yet. Smith is awesome. But this falls into the slot of I don't ever see him holding a title in the company. Mm-hmm. But he'll always, to me, be a guy who gets the crowd going. Opening match to get the crowd alive. Damn good. I honestly, as a character, I don't like the character, but it's going to be good for that crowd, for that CWF crowd. And they're going to boo the shit out of him. The manager, I could do without. I don't get the gimmick of the manager. I don't know who this is. This supposed to be like his director? I don't get it. And the manager with the full-blown Grizzly Adams beard and everything needs to change his look if he's going to do this. But
well, that's those are the questions that I want to see. I want to see him work in a ring because maybe it'll make sense once you see the guys.
Yeah, but I mean, and I'll be honest here. This is one of those things that probably, like you said, wait and see it in the ring. But it can also be good of, hey, remember that promo? Yeah, it was all good until the bell rang.
That's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
As Bruce Pritchard would say, and then the bell rang. As for the overall flow of the show, when it means to this episode here, which is what we're focusing on, it fit. You needed that kind of buffer there between, the Q&A in this match. They couldn't run another commercial. It was good for what it was. I think they did run another commercial after this. They did. Got to look at some pins.
I think they did.
We got a close-up of some pins. CL Party's nice pins. We got a very close-up, if you know what I mean.
White.
Of the pins.
Again, this is something that you don't see in wrestling anymore. And I get it. We're in 2017. I get it. Women, ladies, don't kill me. I get it. But she's holding those 2 pins up, and I ain't looking, man.
I'm not looking at the pins. I can't even tell you what the pins were. I think it was Andre the Giant and Macho Man, but
Fantastic.
Eric Andrews, I'm sorry, but God love you, CL Party. And I know I got some heat in the female wrestling community, but we don't get enough of this anymore. You know, I miss this.
No, it's true.
The SoCal. One of the beautiful things about TNA was every damn time, you know, they at least once per show, you'd get that camera shot from in between SoCal Val's legs, and it would pan out, you know, and you'd be looking right at her ass, and then she'd turn around, you know, and the best pins ever. I will go buy some now if they keep running this commercial.
Yes, but so far to this show, White, I can't even explain my perspective on this because I'm checking it out from the first time because you told me to, right? Basically because of Trevor and Chip. You have the good wrestling match. You have the Brad Attitude Q&A session, which was pretty funny. And then you have the filmmaker, and I went, whoa, what? And then you had that shot for the pin promo. And I'm going, whoa, okay, stop the brakes here. There's something going on in this company, and I like it. You know what I'm saying?
I got it like frozen right here on my YouTube screen. I wish I could share it. Those pins, boy. Lovely pins. Anyway, we cut next to Eric Andrews. Now, the bit about Eric Andrews is you have to understand here to catch everybody up.
Okay.
Eric Andrews has been, like, every time he's in a match, he feels like it's not good competition or he gets screwed out of a win, something to that effect. He's been television champion for quite a while. Okay. So Brad Stutz, a couple of months ago, who's the booker, goes, okay, if you don't think I'm doing a good job booking your opponents, we'll let the audience start picking your opponents. And ever since then, they have the fishbowl with the list of the guys' names in it, and a random fan picks the opponent for Eric Andrews. In fact, it was put into play at 80s Night that at their 20th, I know I'm giving stuff away, spoiler alert, but anyway, at their 20th show, May 20th show, it's going to be heel on heel. Because it's going to be, and this is where I believe that that this pick especially was totally random, is that he's going to be taking on, oh man, I forget his name. Shit. Joshua Cutzall, the real Joshua Cutzall, okay? Who's a heel, who plays like a real insane type character. He wears a straight jacket to the ring, for crying out loud. I mean, you know, very good character, very good worker too. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that heel on heel matchup with this gimmick. But the gimmick in this episode was Papa Hales, who is a super fan. I got a problem with this. Well, let's get to the match first, and then we can vent my issues here with this.
Okay.
So Papa, you know, they present him with the fishbowl, and Papa Hales legit drove 7 hours from wherever he's from, I believe either Atlanta or Florida, to this arena for this event. They did the same thing for Battlecade and said, I didn't drive 7 hours to pick a name out of a bowl. And this was a legit shoot. I believe it was a legit shoot, even though it didn't come off as, because Papa Hales, for all the qualms I may have about Papa Hales or the term super fan, dude could cut a promo.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Here's the gimmick. Here's the rub, folks. Papa Hales cut a better promo in this one segment than half the guys on the WWE roster ever will cut. And he's a fan. He's not in the business.
Yep.
Sad.
I was actually gonna say similar. And similarly to the WWE, a lot of times they have matches with no reason. This was a fan fest, and whoever wrote this show or booked the show, Stutz, gave a reason for the match to happen. Gave the super fan at the fan night, you know, wrote him into the show. I mean, how can a company like WWE be so lazy and you have this just simple, nice little idea, you know, on an independent show? This is what I'm talking about when I kill WWE all the time. So come up with something, do something. You know?
They gather all the wrestlers to the ring, and Papa Hales chooses Mecha Mercenary, one half of the Tag Team Championships, one half of the Sandwich Squad, against Eric Andrews. I'll be honest with you here, not my favorite match on the show. But it was good it was damn good. It was entertaining. Eric Andrews, of course, gets the win by hook or by crook. He's still your television champion. Your thoughts on this one?
Don't know anything about either of the two guys. Big masked guy. I loved it.
Mecca, yeah.
Reminded me of, being a kid, whatever, 1989, watching WWF, you know, something that's missing right now. And again, like you said, the heel, obviously he wins hook or by crook, and he did it again. But the lumberjacks, this is something that I wanted to bring up too. Lumberjacks are around the ring. Mecca looks different. Andrews, he comes out to the Nine Inch Nails song. Obviously, I get what he is. He's got the hair, I get it. All the lumberjacks around the ring, there was a shot of them. And I said recently about the cruiserweight division in WWE, where they're all wearing black. The X division, they all wear black, right? When you took a shot of the roster, the CWF roster, you see the bright yellow popping from that tag team standing there. Maybe you can help me out with the name.
I think it was the Dirty Blondes, or it may have been the Ugly. I think it was the Dirty Blondes.
Okay, but I took a look around the ring, and they don't have that problem, and it's like colorful. You know what I mean? It looks like pro wrestling. So I like that way. I like that. I like me some pro wrestling once in a while.
Oh yeah.
You know?
The Eric Andrews used to be a member of a faction with Nick Richards and Lee Valiant called the Riot. They were like they entered from the back door of the building all the time. They threatened to burn the damn arena down once. I mean, they're very, very, very much like a Ravens flock type gimmick.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's where Andrews comes from. He's grown a lot. Andrews has grown a lot in this. I like Eric Andrews. I like him as TV champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I like where they're going with him. But I don't see it as being very, very long. I don't see this lasting to like Battlecade or somewhere like that. I see this listing, maybe at their June show, their June Supercard that they have in the summer. So, any other thoughts about this match here? Mecha Mercenary, I will say one thing before Mecha Mercenary is a damn fun guy to be around. At least a couple times that I've gotten to talk to him. I was wearing a Ninja Turtle shirt that I got for Christmas, and I walk up to his merch table, and he goes, "Oh my God!" He started marking out over my shirt. He's been super nice to my son, him and Aaron Biggs both. He's a good guy where, if I knew him outside the business, I'd want to go have a beer with him. But he can also play a heel. He used to be with, he used to be aligned with, he used to be aligned with Sis and Michael McAllister, back before Michael McAllister became him, which I have a lot of thoughts on. But anyway, those two were a damn good tag team as well. Aaron Biggs and this Mecca they're okay in a singles match every once in a while, like what we had here. But where they really shine is tag team wrestling. But go ahead and give your thoughts.
Moves pretty well for a big guy too. I was impressed.
Yeah, he is. Him and Aaron Biggs both. Biggs, you didn't get to see Aaron Biggs here on this, but Aaron Biggs has dropped a considerable amount of weight over the past year. And I think Mecca has too. Even though they have a gimmick where they, eat sandwiches and shit like that, and the crowd chants "eat, eat, eat" at them. Their T-shirt design is like the Suicide Squad logo, only it's like two pieces of bread for the eyes and shit. It's very damn funny. I mean, it's very good, and they're over like Rover, man. They are over as hell. And why they're not taking this out on the road, I don't ever know. Maybe they are, and I don't know about it. But anyway, go ahead. You're any more thoughts on this one?
No, that's about it. I thought it was good though. I was impressed with what I saw. Again, the whole visual of what was going on.
The lumberjack part of the match is crazy because it was not designed to be a lumberjack match, and then all of a sudden, this, I equate this as a training session. A bunch of guys getting around having fucking fun with themselves, and or the birthday party thing analogy. All of a sudden, one of the fucking dudes in the damn crowd starts chanting lumberjack match, and all of a sudden, here comes Brad Stutz is off in another part of the fucking building, I think, talking to his wife or something, and here, he's the booker. And all of a sudden, the show is taken out of the booker's hands, and it becomes a fucking lumberjack match. Here's where the things start going downhill for me, and my negatives start coming in. I don't agree with Papa Hales getting involved in the match. I didn't agree with it. The chops look bad live. The chops look bad on tape. Yes, I get the gimmick of all the guy who picked him is getting in there, and it's the super fan. I get it. I don't even know what qualifies you as a super fan. I'm not sure I understand the term super fan. I don't get it. You know, fuck, as much as I'm in that arena, I should be a super fan. You know?
So it's jealousy.
No,
What?
it's not.
The truth comes out.
It's not jealousy. I mean, I get it. He's an old guy with, you know, and he's Dylan Hales' father. The few times I've gotten to talk to Papa Hales, he's a damn fun guy to be around. He's a riot, you know? Dylan Hales as well. But I just don't get, I didn't like the idea of him being involved in the match. But then again, it's FanFest. So I'll give it a pass. I'll give it a pass here. Now, if this was a normal episode of CWF Worldwide, I wouldn't have cared for it. I'd be shitting all over it. But
see, to me,
I could have done without the spot. I'll just say that.
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but it's storytelling. Because the superfan booked the match, basically.
Yeah.
And then the superfan got his chops in on fan night. So I think you can excuse it.
Yeah, I'll excuse it. I'll just say that I'll give it a pass only because of it told the story and it was a part of the fan fest. If it was a part of any other episode, like straight on episode of Worldwide, I would be totally dismissing it. It would hurt the entire match. But because it was, you know, because it was FanFest and because it's Papa Hales, again, I don't get the term super fan. I hate the term super fan. Like that little girl who follows Bailey around. Izzy? Everybody call it, you know, it's super fan Izzy. Who's this? What the fuck is that guy who always, you know, the sign guy, Rick Auerberger or whatever his name is? He's a super fan.
Sign guy Mike.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. I mean, it
back in the day.
I don't
Pro
get
wrestling magic.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, Joe White. Anyway.
Sorry. No, we'll go off the rails. Get back on track.
Hashtag Melvin Dassey.
Melvin Dassey. Okay.
Anyway, but the match was good. I could have done without the spot, but I'll give the spot a pass because it was FanFest, because it fit the story of Papa Hales booking it, and because it fit the storyline of Eric. It's now Eric Andrews versus the people.
Right.
It's not the wrestlers. It's whichever wrestler the people picks. You know, or it's not the booker. It's whoever the people book. So I'll give it a pass. Very good match. Anything else?
No, that's about it for this one.
The next match in your main event of the evening.
Oh boy, dude.
White Mike Jordan, who followed me on Twitter. I put on Twitter, if I die today, I die a happy man because White Mike is following me on Twitter. And we hope to get White Mike Jordan on from Pillow to Post very soon.
Yes.
We got to get White Mike. And he went up against the new and improved Chuck Taylor, who... Stokely Hathaway, Chuck Taylor. I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen much of Chuck Taylor, but I've seen a lot of Stokely Hathaway with Ring of Honor. Didn't know the guy could work this good.
Listen, White, I didn't know it was him, but now that I know it was him, because we figured that out before we, jumped on air here, I was about to, give you some input on what I thought about Chuck Taylor. And now it's Stokely Hathaway, so it's 10 times, it means more now, what I'm about to say. But he reminds me, and this is going to sound crazy, but he reminds me of Dusty and what Dusty used to preach about everything big.
Yeah.
Punches big, kicks big, do everything big, larger than life. And Stokely does it, man.
I don't know if you've seen Human Tornado or not.
I've seen him, old footage of him. If
there was ever a guy who should form a tag team with White Mike Jordan, it's the Human Tornado.
I could see that.
Or at least have a feud with one another. They got to be involved somehow. You got the Pimp versus White Mike. It just fits so good. Stutzy, book it, please. Fly him in from, I know he lives in California. And I know he's might be semi-retired, but you gotta convince Tornado at least one, for one match. Maybe it's at Battlecade to come out there and tag team with White Mike. But go ahead, keep on with your thoughts on this one.
Oh, you want my thoughts on White Mike?
Yeah, thoughts on everything, the match, the characters, everything. Go ahead.
All right. Well, this finally was the culmination to the Fan Fest, right? So normally,
I was not there for this match. I left because after the lumberjack match is when they did the match game segment, and I didn't want to stick around for that, to be honest, because it was, it was fucking pro wrestler match game. It was. I'm sure it was funny as fuck, but it was like I wanted to go eat. So
right, gotcha.
I left, and so I missed this match live. This was my first time seeing this match this past Wednesday.
Oh, okay, all right. So normally, if it wasn't FanFest, I would have a couple problems with what they did, because obviously he's, his character is comic relief.
Yeah.
You have the referee spot with the suplexes. The kid runs in. I get it. It was FanFest, but normally I would probably have a problem with that. But overall, I thought the match was pretty good. And White Mike, the character, is freaking unbelievable. It's unbelievable how good. And, dude, one of those things. I told you I like the character of the filmmaker. But I don't believe the filmmaker believes he's the filmmaker yet.
Yeah.
Okay, if that makes sense.
That's what I was getting to. You hit it right on the head. You hit it right on
White
the head.
Mike comes out, and you believe he's White Mike.
You believe that this motherfucker is walking down in downtown North Carolina, downtown Gibsonville, wearing that fucking robe, folks. And I wouldn't wearing that NWA T-shirt. And I'm not talking National Wrestling Alliance.
Yes, and by the way, White, thank you for saying that, because during the lumberjack match, you got to remember, I have no idea who this guy is. I saw the NWA and I thought, oh, okay, he's a throwback. He's wearing the Wrestling Alliance shirt.
Did they show the white girl down spot in the lumberjack match? I forget.
White girl down.
I guess not. There's a spot I think in the lumberjack match where one of the girls, the girl who accompanies White Mike to the ring, I guess she gets hit with something or gets knocked down, and White Mike is standing over where the video game is on the opposite side of the arena. And all of a sudden you hear, oh, white girl down, and he runs over to the damn thing where the girl is, picks her up in his arms, white girl down, and walks over to the damn others, walks her out of the ring, puts her in Stutz's hands, and walks back and goes back to his lumberjack duties.
I just listen. My jaw was on the floor watching this guy. He comes out. He's going, "Look at my white girl," and he's doing the hip moves. And oh my god, he's a dude. He's $1 million, man. Are you kidding me? He should be. My god, companies should be playing him for their roster to see exactly how you make a character. Get into character. Mm-hmm. My god. He's awesome. He's awesome. And his mouth doesn't shut up the whole time. It's great.
He never breaks character. That's the thing. From the time you enter that building, from the time he entered that fan fest, until all the way until the time, I even posted like a picture of him and somebody else playing the WrestleFest video game in between matches, and I think I put on Twitter that night, when grown men in tights play video games. It was beautiful. He's there in his singlet and the NWA T-shirt, and he's got his hat on backwards, playing WWF WrestleFest in character.
And by the way, the finish, and I'm not talking about the finish of the match, but the finish of the show with him stripping and retiring.
We'll get there.
Oh my god. Why? I was pleasantly surprised by this show. I love it.
So the match itself, it reminded me of something Colt Cabana would put on. Mm-hmm. But it was better. Mm-hmm. Better. It made sense. They still told a story. Yep. They still actually had a match instead of just a bunch of fucking ha-ha spots like what a typical Colt Cabana match is.
Right. Exactly. That's the difference. Yep.
And so, anyway, go ahead and finish. I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed very much watching this guy. And Chuck Taylor played it, perfectly. He's going to Suplex City, and he's selling. He doesn't care about the joke of it all. You know what I mean? But the greatest part of it was the end when, Chuck said to him, "You should change your name to Black Mike." And White Mike really popped for that, and then he picked up his gear and said, I'm back.
I'm not retired anymore. I think instead of the retirement bit, they should have done, he's like, check out my white girl, and he's got that, and halfway through the match, the black guy who took the white hoe, as they was called, off, is the Dirty Daddy, who's normally a baby face, and he did a heel move, Why Kane Justice got in the match, I'll never know, but it fit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then,
It was a circus. It was great.
Yes, it was awesome. Funny don't draw money usually. This is not gonna fucking, main event WrestleMania, but it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He gives him like 3 suplexes, and he's like, "What was that, 8?" And the referee, Robbie Walsh, "No, that was 2." He goes, "All right, we'll call it 9."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That whole spot was great. Yep.
And then Robbie Walsh, he sees the suplexes, and Stokely or Chuck hits Walsh, and Walsh fucking hulks up, man. He looked like, who Walsh reminded me of? Remember Hillbilly Jim when he would get fucking mad and just get that wild man look on his face?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could see that.
Dude, Robbie Walsh. I got to give Robbie Walsh, who got a haircut, fit into the storyline of Battlecade last year because Brad Attitude took some scissors to the ring one evening and was going to cut Trevor Lee's hair, but instead he cut Robbie Walsh's hair and gave Robbie Walsh his finish, and he put Robbie Walsh out until Battlecade when they did a rep bump, and here comes clean-cut Robbie Walsh to count the finish of that match. But anyway, Robbie Walsh was a damn star in this match too. I've said it for, weeks now. Robbie Walsh is probably the best referee right now in that company. If not, I don't want to say on the indies today, but he shows so much facial expressions for a referee. And normally I hate that shit. Like I always hated Charles Robertson for whenever a big move would happen, Charles Robertson would fucking like jump up in the air and lose his fucking mind and act like the move was happening to him.
See, I kind of like that to a point.
I mean, to a point it's good, but every match with every move, somebody would do a hip toss and he'd wince and turn his head like he was the one getting hip tossed. But for this match, Robbie Walsh just shows some character, like when 2 people are down for a 10 count spot, he'll, hey, this is eyes up, this guy ain't up. He kind of explains to the audience and to the timekeeper at the same time what's actually happening in the match.
2 words, White, red shoes. He's very red shoes.
He's very red shoes. Very much so. I mean, not as serious as red shoes.
Right.
But,
But as good, I would say. Like he's explaining it like a ref would.
Yeah.
He's not trying to steal the show like a Charles Robinson.
So he gives Chuck a suplex and high fives White Mike, and as White Mike turns his head, he turns to the crowd, he fucking deadlift Germans White Mike Jordan. And the announcers are, "Oh, he just deadlift White Mike Jordan." No, this is the one point where I did not mind the screaming. And it was not Brad doing the screaming. Cecil was doing the screaming. The color commentator who has the wrestling experience was marking out over it. That fits. But anyway, keep going. What else about this really we'll get into the end here in a minute, but go ahead.
I'm just going to pass it back to you, White, because there's not much else I could say about it. I mean, if you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about, watch this White Mike guy. I mean, White, it was constant. Like every second he was saying like a funny one-liner, and I was legit laughing.
Like they say,
like I was going to start writing them down, but after the third one in 10 seconds, it's like, forget it. The guy's money,
I remember he's like, "Oh Lord, he looks." he grabs Chuck. And he goes, "This is my nice shiny Thunderdome. I'm gonna lick it." And he licks his head like the bushwhacker. He didn't lick it like the bushwhackers. He just barely touched his tongue to it just to get a taste. And the referee's like, "Licking is allowed. There ain't nothing in the rule book about." Again, Robbie Walsh. Got to give credit to Robbie Walsh here. Ain't nothing in the rule book about licking. And he goes,
"He's oh my God, he's getting behind Chuck Taylor and he's going, 'Come on, Daddy,' and he's got the hips swiveling."
And then Chuck Taylor reverses the move, and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And then it's very Gold Dust-esque. It's like if Gold Dust and Colt Cabana got together, honestly.
Yeah, he's like a combination of all that. Like you could throw some Joey Ryan in there because he's kind of sleazy, like he looks sleazy.
I wouldn't compare a pile of shit to Joey Ryan, but anyway.
Well, the sleaze department.
Yeah.
He's all that, man. It's funny shit.
The spot where he's like, "I kept it PG for the kids," and Robbie Walsh, they got National Geographic, and he's walking across the ring. True, they got them orangutan nipples on there. Oh,
Yeah, good stuff.
but the beauty of all this, comedy aside, the best part of White Mike Jordan is his finisher. That finisher, that Kano, oh
yes.
my God, where he spins the guy and then twists him over.
Yes.
That's
I'm
devastating.
sorry, I forgot to say that. Yes.
You know, for a guy who's all fucking comedy, his damn finisher is probably the most devastating right now in CWF. I'll go ahead and say it.
You know what? I wanted to say this, White, but as soon as somebody sees that, they're gonna rip it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna see that on TV before
You'll
you know
see that
it.
in Japan 10 times over.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a devastating looking move. Great.
And that's, talks about White Mike, how he's got some strength. You know, Cesaro does the swing by the legs.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last time I seen somebody do it in a fucking can opener position.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have.
So he gets the pin. White Mike gets the pin over Chucky T, and he takes his boots off in the ring, and everybody's in the ring dancing with him, and everybody is in there. And I'll say one thing before we get to the finish. I just was reminded of this. I didn't like the kid spot.
I didn't think you were gonna, because I know how you feel about the kids in the ring.
You know, they had Sis come in. Sis by far has the best German in the business right now. I'll say it. Sis had better Germans.
That was phenomenal.
Dude, her German suplexes. And I'll be honest with you, like I said, not a lot of women's matches. Sis, oftentimes and not tag teams with Mike McAllister and wrestles men on those shows. And does a damn good job. Her character's awesome. She comes to the ring in that ring, that ring gear that she was in is not her ring gear. Her ring gear that she was in the lumberjack match is her traditional ring gear. But she comes to the ring, with a damn collar and chain around her neck, and McAllister's leading her to the ring bite, and she just, oh, man.
Cool.
Part of me wishes they would take off the damn mask on her, because I'm sure she's a beautiful woman, but another bigger half of me is going, no, that's the whole fucking gimmick.
Yeah.
But anyway, she gets in the ring and she gets behind Chuck. Here we go, Chuck. And she, boom, just flat out fucking flips him over her head and just decimates Chuck.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
So after the match, he takes off, White Mike takes off his boots. That's it, I'm retiring. The coach is even in there trying to dance with White Mike. The coach is dancing with White Mike in the ring. It doesn't matter who's heel or babyface at this point. Everybody's just having fun. It's fan fest.
Yep.
And everybody's like, everybody's telling him, take it off. So he takes his singlet off. He takes his other shorts off. He's on down. He's like, this is the one that's got the real smell to him. And he throws him out of the ring. Another high spot during the match is, they go to the video game and Chuck Taylor's playing the video game while he's got Mike in a headlock, bashing him up against the arcade cabinet. Another spot is they go to the ugly duckling side, and White Mike is standing up against, I think, Cutshaw or I forget who it was. I'm sorry. But all of a sudden, Rob Killjoy of the Ugly Ducklings jumps in between the two and kisses White Mike Jordan right on the lips. And everybody's all grossed out. Ew. And what is White Mike's reaction? Do you remember what he said?
I kind of liked it.
I think I liked it. And then, of course, the commentators, Brad Stutz does not miss a beat. He likes it. Mikey likes it.
Yeah.
So
that is good stuff.
So then they did the thing where,
one of the announcers too at the arcade spot said, "Boy, that's going to trigger me if anything happens to that game or if that game breaks or something."
I think it's his personally. To be honest with you, I think it might have been either that or they rented it.
Well, I hate the word triggered, and I like when people make fun of the word triggered. So yeah. I hope he was making fun of it because that was pretty funny. If he was.
So they do they do that spot. The best part of the night, the best one-liner to me is when they do the damn thing where the hoe gets taken off by Dirty Daddy. He goes, "I don't care about the hoe. I just want my robe back," because the entire match, the girl who comes to ringside with him has his robe on, and she makes an appearance after the match and puts the robe back on White Mike Jordan after he retires. I wish they would have done the James Brown bit with the robe.
Oh, yes, he needs to kneel down after the match.
He needs to kneel down after the match, and then I can't go on. Like she should have put the robe on and helped him toward the entranceway, and then he should have been like, ah, with that scream and came back. It would have been great.
Yeah, he needs to start doing that. Yep.
I don't know.
It fits right in with what he's doing.
But it fit right in with this because he had the girl with him. He don't always have the girl with him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In fact, I think the girl is actually a part of the Carnies who was there that night.
Oh.
Anyway, they so he retires and Chuck Taylor gets in the ring and goes, man, I respect you. White Mike goes, I respect you more than anybody here tonight. And he does the facial caress of him again. And Chuck goes, you know what, man? They don't need to call you, I respect you too. And they don't need to call you White Mike anymore. They need to call you Black Mike. Everybody's all, Black Mike, Black Mike. He goes, that's it, I can't retire, I'm back. And he takes his NWA shirt and all his boots and everything.
Phenomenal.
And that's how the show ended, folks.
Phenomenal.
So does this have you wanting, my main question to you is, does this have you wanting to tune in Wednesday?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
Now, it's going to be totally different than this because, again, this is FanFest. Next week is
That's all right.
Next week is Battle Bowl. The fans choose the matches. They do the fishbowl thing, but for everybody. The fans choose the matches. They may do like the the tag team titles. Who's going to win who's going to put up the, get the shot at the tag titles, and they draw the names out of the bucket. I was not there for Battle Bowl. I was there for 80s Night, which you'll see also in a couple weeks. But my God, go buy some pins. Go add White Mike on Twitter. Anything else to say about this episode, Jeff, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm definitely quickly becoming a fan of CWF Mid-Atlantic, White.
That's right.
Oh, man, what else could I say? You know White as a fan. I'm a fan with a podcast, basically, right?
Right.
I could be a miserable fan sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, I don't think I said anything negative about this show. Like, I could be miserable when I watch wrestling. This was awesome.
It's crazy when the champion for CWF on the network is the one that's sitting there finding things to pick on.
Yeah, really.
I just don't like I didn't like the kids spot. The Papa Hales thing, that can blow over. The kids, no. It didn't look right, first of all, for the match. I don't agree with people who are not trained. I would never, as much as I think I would like it, I would never dream of getting in that ring, ever. Unless it was for like a photo op,
White, that was another spot.
What's
White
that?
Mike Jordan. He goes, this isn't about you, kid. You can go now.
Yeah, this is about me.
After he hit the move.
Well, the kid is standing there like, now what? After the kid hit a belly-to-back suplex on him, which kudos to Chuck Taylor for selling the damn thing.
Yes.
And then Mike is like, you can go home now, bad kid. This ain't about you.
That guy's money.
He is money. He doesn't wrestle for CWF that often. That's what kills me. I've seen him in PWX before. I think he's wrestling. Let me check his Twitter here. Hold on. Where can you see White Mike Jordan again? Besides this podcast in the near future. Let me see here.
Okay. I'll say this while you're looking it up. You had the wrestling match, the opening match, so you could check that off. You had the entertainment value, the fun factor, the big masked guy. You know what I mean? You had a little bit of everything. You had the woman come in, do the run-in with the perfect German.
Perfect.
There's a little bit of everything.
I was a 5-star German.
I really think older fans that have become, disenfranchised with pro wrestling would enjoy that show.
What they call the lapsed fans.
The lapsed fans, yes.
So White Mike Jordan is going to be appearing Saturday, May 20th, which tells me he will not be at CWF that night. Saddened by that. He's going to be appearing for Ignite Wrestling Presents Anarchy. I don't know where this is. I'm not really going to put over the promotion too much, but that's where you can go if you want to see White Mike Jordan, or just check out other episodes of CWF Mid-Atlantic. The story behind White Mike, and I don't know if you caught it for the commentary, is the guy with the mustache who asked the question, what makes you and I so much better than them, or what makes you and I so much better than these people during the Pride Attitude Q&A? That's Ethan Alexander Sharp. Plays like $1 million man type gimmick. Really good at what he does. Him and White Mike have been kind of tag teaming in CWF. They did a damn tag with, I think it was like an 8-man tag. It was them, those two, and McAllister against like the Ugly Ducklings one time. And the story is that White Mike is kind of like under the mercy of Ethan Alexander Sharp. White Mike has kids, at least as many as he knows about. That's the storyline. And he's got to feed his kids. So it's kind of like the Heath Slater type thing.
Okay.
And the guy
All right.
paying him is Ethan Alexander Sharp, is funding him, funding his kids.
Ah,
So
okay.
he's got to bow down to Ethan Alexander Sharp's will. Ethan won't let him have any fun. The Ugly Ducklings came out for one match, and he's sitting there going, quack, 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 White Mike is, and Ethan stops him from quacking, and he's like, but I want to quack. I want to quack. And so Ethan won't let him have any fun. And it's kind of coming to a head between these two where eventually you're going to see White Mike Jordan versus Ethan Alexander Sharp. And it's going to be awesome when it happens. I'll be honest with you. Ethan Alexander Sharp, the gimmick has kind of grown old on me. And he hasn't, to me, that type of a gimmick he has to win a title at some point. I think he was Rising Generation League champion at one point, or TV champion.
Oh, that was a question for you. Do they use the minor titles like as a stepping stone and then push a guy up after it's over?
Not always.
Okay.
Not always. You know how WWE does the whole thing of, I'm going to lose the title, but then the very next night I'm going to challenge for the upper title, the title above it? They don't necessarily do that all the time.
All right. Okay.
I wish they would sometimes, because I honestly, I'm a big fan of Michael McAllister. And I know Michael McAllister's been doing it for a while. I really wish they would give him a shot at the TV title or something, do something more with him. The same goes with a White Mike Jordan. I could totally see White Mike as TV champ.
Oh, yeah, totally.
The Lost Cause, Nick Richards, best cutter in the business, does a better RKO than Randy Orton does. And
I love a good cutter.
He's the, you know what else I love? A good set of pins. But anyway. But his deal is he won the Weaver Cup, the Johnny Weaver Memorial Tournament, which will be happening this summer, and the winner of that gets a title shot. He hasn't cashed in that yet. In fact, the 80s night, the buildup is, when are you going to cash in your title shot against Trevor Lee? And he goes, I'm getting sick of waiting, is basically what he said. And Nick Richards is a total babyface now. He used to be a part of that Riot stable. He broke away from the Riot. He was the one that broke the Riot up, and he turned babyface. He's a damn good babyface. Nick Richards doesn't do anything outside of CWF Mid-Atlantic, which is really sad. I think he should get out there more. And it would certainly help his craft. It would certainly help his matches. Certainly help his promos and his character, I think, if he could work other places maybe. But I really wish they would go ahead and it's been building for a while, him and Trevor. I don't want to see them pull that trigger till Battlecade, which is in December. And then you got, and it's going to be classic babyface versus babyface. It's going to be awesome. Trevor Lee's held this belt for almost a year. And I'm curious to see who he's finally going to drop that belt to. I don't know if it's going to be a heel. I don't know who it's going to be against. I mean, you got other people in that company who are quote unquote guaranteed title shots. Their version of the Money in the Bank is the golden ticket. Somebody holds that right now. I'm not quite sure who. People on Twitter are probably going nuts right now when I say that, but it's kind of hard to get confused about who has a title shot sometimes in this, because I think right now 3 people are owed title shots in that company. So that part gets a bit confusing to me. But yeah, it's fun. I can't wait to see next week's. I enjoy there's weeks where I don't even watch NXT. And I look forward to Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. I get that alert on my phone that tells me, from my YouTube app, that tells me, hey, CWF Mid-Atlantic just uploaded the newest episode of Worldwide. Anything else here before we close things out?
I will be watching next week, and the bad news is it's 5 more days we got to wait.
I know, right? That's sad.
But the good news is I have 102 episodes to go back and watch. So
start at the one, if you want to get a good idea of who the Sandwich Squad are and who the All-Stars with the coach is, watch the match after the Chip Day Trevor Lee match.
Okay.
Because that's the finals for the Cornado Cup. The All-Stars, man, Roy Wilkins is a damn good heel. Roy Wilkins last year went 1 hour and 45 minutes with Trevor Lee. Probably a match of the year candidate that year. And then, the Coach Gemini is out there, and then they've adopted Brad Attitude. Brad Attitude is like, I'm not an all-star, but I like the coach, so I'll hang in there with you. kind of giving justifiability to the thing of, I'm not fully in your clique, but I'll hang with your clique and defend your clique and tag with your clique if it means I get my business done too, you know?
Right.
It was very well explained during that Q&A. Sandwich Squad, Aaron Biggs and Eric Royal, just two gigantic guys who, honestly, to me, they're I'll say this. They're no Midnight Express. They're no Rock and Roll Express. They're not going to be the Revival. You know, don't expect that shit going in. But two big guys, they're over like Rover, man. My stepson has a Sandwich Squad t-shirt, if that tells you anything.
Cool. All right.
So, that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, folks. We thank you guys so much for listening. I think I am going to try to make this a regular thing by myself. I wish you could join me every week.
I was that good? Why? Was I that good?
What's that? Well, I mean, I was going to say, I don't know if you want to sit down and do this with me every week. How old would it get for you? I could talk about CWF Mid-Atlantic till the cows come home. Mm-hmm. I got to clear it with the people at CWF if they don't mind us discussing this weekly.
I'm sure they're not going to mind.
Oh, they're not going to mind because they get free promotion. But
damn right.
It's not like they're going to be featuring us on their YouTube channel anytime soon, hopefully.
That's all right.
Who knows? If they want to steal this and put it up there, go ahead.
Yeah.
The unofficial CWF Mid-Atlantic After Show may be coming.
The official unofficial CWF
Mid-Atlantic Worldwide After Show coming to 1650 PWAM. I got my schedule for next week, so we could totally do it if you want to on Wednesday.
I'm in.
We'll do it live, too. How about that? We'll watch it. If you can watch it when the episode drops at 9, and then we can do it right after at 10.
Yeah, we could do that.
Oh. You can follow
the official, unofficial CWF Mid-Atlantic show right here, 1650.
You heard it from Hollywood. So let me go ahead here. We're going to roll on out. Follow us on Twitter at 1650 PWAM. That's where you can find our shows dropping before they drop anywhere else. You'll get alerts on that Twitter handle at 1650 PWAM. Follow Jeff on Twitter at Blading for Truth. I got your Twitter handle up on the screen, Jeff, so they'll know where to find you.
Nice. Thank you.
You need to kind of maybe change it to Hollywood Truth. Something like that.
That sounds like a show.
Ooh, Hollywood Truth. Movie talk with Hollywood
Truth. Movie talk. Yes, White. You're a genius.
As much as I like movies too, I don't know if you want me on there, but anyway. And you can follow me on Twitter at Joe Pillar to Post. If you would like to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can do so, pillartopost1650 at yahoo.com. And until next time, folks, we'll see you. Finish it, Edwards.
Down the road.
Good job.